Welcome to What Is. It's a channel where we ask the important what is questions. And today's question, what is minimum wage? Let's really dive into what it is, why it matters, and how it shakes out around the world. It's a topic that touches so many lives, and I think it's super important to break it down in a way that's easy to grasp, you know? The whole idea of minimum wage is really about protecting workers from being taken advantage of, right? It's like this essential safety net for folks just trying to make ends meet and live their lives. Can you imagine working long hours and still struggling to pay the bills? That's where minimum wage comes in. This concept isn't exactly new. It's been floating around for ages, but it really started to gain traction in the early 1900s when people woke up to the fact that workers needed some basic protections in the workplace. For instance, think about the labor movements back then that pushed for fair pay and better working conditions. It was a game changer. So, minimum wage is more than just a number. It's about fairness and dignity for everyone trying to get by. In the USA, the federal minimum wage is stuck at $7.25 per hour. But here's where it gets interesting. States have the freedom to set their own rates. So we end up with this wild patchwork across the country. Take California, for example. They've cranked it up to a whopping $15.50 per hour. That's a massive leap, right? On the flip side, some states, like Mississippi, are still at the federal level. And get this, there are even countries out there that don't have a national minimum wage at all. Can you believe it? Such a mixed bag. And it really sparks a conversation about fairness and living wages, doesn't it? For those who rely on minimum wage, every cent really counts, which is why having a minimum wage is so crucial. In places without a set minimum, it's totally up to individual businesses to decide what they pay. This can lead to some serious disparities, especially in industries where workers might be more vulnerable to exploitation. When the government steps in to set a minimum wage, it's like saying, hey, everyone deserves a fair paycheck for their hard work. But opinions on this vary widely. Well, it really depends on who you ask. There are definitely pros and cons to consider. Some folks argue that it's government overreach and that companies should have the freedom to set their own pay rates. They believe that the market should dictate wages and that intervention can lead to unintended consequences. There's a big movement happening in the USA right now to boost the federal minimum wage to $15 an hour. It's really exciting to see so many people getting behind this, right? Everyone's feeling the effects, and it's all about making life a bit easier for everyone out there. Whether you're for or against minimum wage laws, it's key to understand how they work and the effects they have on both workers and the economy. Advocates say it's crucial for workers to keep up with rising living costs and that it would help tackle poverty and inequality. Imagine trying to pay rent, buy groceries, and take care of your family on a wage that barely covers the essentials. It's tough. Critics are really concerned that hiking the minimum wage could actually lead to job losses and put a strain on small businesses. You know how it goes. If businesses have to shell out more cash for wages, they might start cutting back on hiring or even laying off workers just to keep their budgets in check. It's such a tricky situation, right? For instance, a local diner might have to decide between paying its staff more or keeping its doors open. It's a tightrope walk, balancing fair pay with the reality of running a business. What do you think? Is it worth the risk? Supporters of minimum wage argue that it's essential for protecting workers and ensuring they can meet their basic needs. They believe that raising it can help cut down on poverty and inequality. Plus, it can help businesses draw in and keep employees, which is a win-win for everyone involved. It's all about creating a fair playing field. This helps keep employers from taking advantage of folks who might be in tough situations. Plus, when workers earn a living wage, they can actually afford the essentials, which helps fight poverty and creates a fairer society. And guess what? Raising the minimum wage can give a boost to the economy. When low-wage workers have more cash to spend, they're likely to spend it locally, which can help those communities thrive. Also, businesses that pay fair wages are more likely to attract and keep good employees, leading to better productivity and profits. Happy workers often lead to happy customers, and that's a great recipe for success. Now, let's take a little trip back in time. New Zealand was the pioneer, introducing a national minimum wage law back in 1894. And Australia hopped on that train just 2 years later. Fast forward to 1998, and the UK joined the party with its own minimum wage. It's interesting to see how different countries have approached this issue over the years. In the USA, the federal minimum wage was set in 1938 at a whopping 25 cents an hour. Can you imagine? That's equivalent to about $4.50 today. Since then, it's been raised a bunch of times, but it hasn't quite kept pace with inflation, which means that its buying power has dropped over the years. This is a big deal because it means that even though the nominal wage has gone up, what you can actually buy with that money has decreased. Most places have minimum wage laws that cover both private and public employers, although some industries might get a pass. So, what's minimum wage? Simply put, it's the least amount of cash that employers can legally pay their workers for an hour of their time. It's a straightforward concept, but the implications are anything but simple. When we look at minimum wage around the globe, things get pretty interesting. Here's a quick peek at minimum wage in some major economies. In the USA, $7.25, while California is at $15.50. Now, these numbers are just the legal minimums. Lots of workers, especially in white-collar jobs, make way more than that. But it's important to remember that for many, this minimum is all they have to rely on. Why do we even have minimum wage laws? Well, it's all about protecting workers from being exploited, right? Think about it. Without these laws, companies could pay people next to nothing, making it super tough for them to make ends meet. It's about giving everyone a fair shot to earn a decent living and support their families. Imagine a single parent juggling 2 jobs just to put food on the table. That's not just unfair, it's heartbreaking. These laws are a fundamental issue of fairness and dignity in the workplace, ensuring that hard work is rewarded and that people can actually live, not just survive. It's a step towards creating a more just society where everyone has the chance to thrive. Now, let's tackle the big question. Is minimum wage a good or bad thing? On the flip side, some folks think minimum wage can lead to job losses as businesses look to cut costs. It's a hot topic, and right now, there's a lot of chatter about whether minimum wages should go up, and if so, by how much. The UK government just dropped some exciting news. They're planning to raise the national minimum wage to £12.21 an hour in 2025. That's a huge step towards making sure everyone can earn a decent living. This move really aligns with the Living Wage Foundation's goal of ensuring a real living wage for all. It's a great start, but let's be honest, it's just scratching the surface. We still have to tackle the rising cost of living and make sure wages keep up with inflation. It's awesome to see progress, but we've got to keep pushing for even better pay and working conditions for everyone, right? So, there you have it. It's a quick overview of minimum wage, what it is, where it came from, and how it varies across the globe. Now, I'd love to hear what you think. What are your thoughts on minimum wage? Drop a comment below. Your opinion matters, and it's important to keep this conversation going. Let's chat about it. This topic is super important and really impacts millions of workers all around the globe. It's crazy to think about how many lives are affected by these issues, right? If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more awesome content like this. I truly appreciate you hanging out with me today. Your support means a lot. I can't wait to catch you next time.